One.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Yeah, when I first moved to Las Vegas, I was living in this house, and I had a bunch of roommates, and one of them was this Japanese dude, and he never really talked to anybody, but he'd feed all the pigeons and stuff. And so he'd been there for a couple years, before I got there. And so by the time I got there, all the pigeons would like soar me and shit, Every time I go out to smoke weed or whatever, there were like fucking 8 to 10 pigeons, like fucking howling me around and stuff. I'm like, man, leave me alone, you race-ass pigeons. Hey, one of my buddies, he's a white dude. He's real white, I think it's like part albino and shit. Yeah, it's like so white when he comes to my house, like all the plants start growing in his direction. Hey, whenever I have sex, I never last as long as I'd like to, Like, I'm always like, come on, dick, hang in there. And my dick's always like, yeah, screw this. Blah. And, I used to go to the water park every summer, right? But then one day when I was 16, I went there and something really traumatic happened, so I stopped going there. Anyway, I'm 16 years old, and I'm on this waiting in line on the stairs, to this water slide. And I look up, and the girl next to me, she's about the same age as me, her boobs are right in my face, And it's kind of cold and windy, right? So her nipples are popping out. So I was like, whoa, okay. So I turned, to the side. And this girl here, about the same age as me also, her face is right in my junk, And I've already got a partial, woody, right? And then this girl, she yawns, So that was it, right? It was like, bang, I was like, oh man, I gotta get out of here, shit. So I just run up and I'm, to run past everyone to get onto the slide. And apparently this is a pretty common thing in raging waters because the lifeguard was like, just come on, just go, So I got on the slide, I go down. I was like, man, they really need to rename this place. They should call it Raging Boners. Why didn't the oyster share his food? She's shellfish. I'll tell you this, there's this dude, this sailor, and he gets hired onto this boat. And it's just a bunch of dudes, right? And so they're out in the sea for about 6 months. And he's telling his buddies, hey man, when are we gonna go back down to port, right? I'm starting to get horny here. He's like, oh no, we're not going back to port for another 6 months. It's like, what? I can't wait that long? I'm like, well, have you tried the barrel? He's like, no, what's that? So he takes him to this room, and there's a little barrel in there, or there's a barrel with a little hole in it. He's like, well, there you go, So he starts fucking this barrel, and it works really good, right? He's like, oh man, this thing's awesome, And so he tells his buddies, man, that barrel worked really well, I think I'm gonna use it every day. He's like, oh, you mean every day but Sunday, right? He's like, oh, you can't use it on Sunday? It's like, well, you can, but Sunday's your day in the barrel. What do you call a guy who can make a business suit real fast? Taylor Swift. Yeah, I think Pride Month needs a mascot, And I got the perfect one. The flamingo. Right? They got pink feathers, they love to dance. And they're a non-predatory type bird, They only eat brine shrimp and algae and stuff. Nobody gives a damn about no brine shrimp. And you know what a group of flamingos is called? They're not called a flock. No, they're called a flamboyance. Yeah, how gay is that, right? It's all the best parts of Pride Month all wrapped up into one animal. Yeah, even the name flamingo is flaming O. A flaming O? That's like a burning butthole. And whenever a guy brags about how big his dick is, it's usually the opposite, right? It's usually really small, Yeah, I was talking to this one guy, and he was like, oh man, my dick's so big, I'm hung like a horse. I was like, yeah, like a seahorse. Yeah, I think Shaquille O'Neal's the happiest man on earth, right? He's always so jolly, and everyone just loves him. I think because he's never been bullied, how you gonna mess with someone who's so tall that his crotch is in your face? It's like, hey Shaq, give me your lunch money. Never mind. Yeah, it's weird how language changes over time, right? Nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was gonna blow my brains out, I wouldn't know whether to run away or pull my pants down. Yeah, scientists the past year reported for the first time 2 male humpback whales having sex. Yeah. Warner Brothers is already gonna make a movie about them. Yeah, they're gonna call it Humpback Mountain. The NFL has one Asian player, and he's a kicker. What, could you not find a more racist position for this guy? What, you make me go out barefoot in a karate uniform? Alright, well, this last joke. You know, comedians always tell you two things, right? They always tell you when they just get booked on a show, and they always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so whoa. Alright, man, don't want to matter, thank you.
Guys, give it up one more time for E1. Oh.